Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Kraven's Immortality. And boy, was I so wrong about this synergy. I thought it was just going to be very mediocre, but if in some situations it is absolutely broken, and I'm going to show some examples of that today, but the situations are, if you're running the recoil masteries, it is insane. Like, no matter the fight, it is just so good. And if you're fighting, like, damage over time, it's also just super good. So now we're going to show some examples, and the reason that it's so good for when you're running recoil masteries and for when you are fighting damage over time, it's because when he's immortal, he does not take any damage. So it's kind of like an indestructible rather than an immortal buff, and that's just, like, insane. So here I should have been taking a lot of damage from the poison, the bleed, and from recoil, but I took none of it. So now that enables me to just finish off the fight. But like, you do have to play very well because you're at like a very low health pool. But if you can pull it off, then it's like really useful. And Heimdall, he's very like annoying to fight, so my bleeds fell off because I didn't want him to throw SP2, and it was just like a big mess. But I'm still like finishing off the fight very well. I almost got binned there, but I didn't. But yeah, I went in at like 3 or 5% health, something like that, and I finished the fight. And now I'm going to show you what it's like when you're fighting a lot of damage over time. So this is energy adoption. There's 2 of them actually, so you get 2 debuffs. And I'm going to throw out the SP1. And I hit Immortality. So I didn't take any recoil damage there. And you can just see the willpower is just like supercharging my health. I went from 1% to like over 20%. And that is just enough health that I needed to finish off this matchup. So I have to play a bit more passively because I didn't want like to get too many debuffs because I'm still at low health. Like, I did gain a lot of health, but I'm still at low health. But yeah, things are going very well right now. I think I will have enough health to finish off the match. I push him in, and yeah, this is just about wrapped up. So as you can see, yet again, I was able to finish off the match when I went in at like almost 0 health. And I am just so surprised on how good this synergy is, to be honest. Like, I did not expect it to be this good. Bought a refill, but I didn't even use the big refill that I bought, so I just wasted 30 units. And yeah, I'm going into this matchup with low health again. This time I only have 8% health. And it's gonna be the same thing, man. You're gonna proc Immortality. You can proc it just by like taking too much damage over time or from the recoil. But so now we're in it. We're taking 0 damage now. See, no recoil was taken. And I'm just still in shock that it's this good, to be honest. Like, it's so useful for damage over time that doesn't do too much damage, but it does enough to like push you into Immortality, you know? I messed up there big time, but he's like gonna be almost KO'd anyway, so I'm not even worried about it, to be honest. And like, I tried to get to my SP1 there, but I got too much power. But the fight's finished anyway, so those are pretty okay times. Like, they're pretty decent times. But what's more important is like the fact that you could literally not take any damage while you're immortal. And by the way, I've tested it before, and it works for SP3. You do not take any SP3 damage. In fact, I'm going to show you a clip of what happens if you do take an SP3. So we're going to get into that right now. Alright, so now we're going to show what happens when you get SP3'd while you're immortal. So that happens. You take 0 damage. For Hercules, he would get KO'd, but Kraven does not. So I think overall, this Immortality is really solid. Is it better than Hercules? No. Is it as good? Well, is it as good? Not really. But is it valuable? Very. It is a very good asset to Kraven's kit that I feel like is very underrated. And yeah, that's about it for me.